How excited are you to be competing in the final this weekend?
Really excited. It's been a long time coming. A slightly different format to what we're used to in previous years, where we had the round robin on one day. But we went out on that day to basically win everything we could, and we did. So we've been spending all season building up to it since we knew we'd be in the final, and I'm just raring to go.
Obviously, last year was really difficult. Didn't get to play at all and defend your trophy. How has it been to be back with the team and get into that final on Saturday?
It's been great. I mean, during the lockdowns, we still trained as a team via Zoom calls. Slightly weird Zoom call. I've never really been in a situation where we're all working out and you just keep glancing up to check everyone else is still at the same pace. But now that we're back in person and, you know, we're coming to the end of our domestic league, that, you know, we've worked tirelessly to make up for that lost time. And I think, you know, in the domestic league so far, we've not lost a single game. Alongside the Challenge Cup round robin. So this weekend is essentially all that build up and, you know, defending our trophy. The pressure's on us. And, you know, we're all ready to go and take that pressure and turn it into something great.
You've played in the final before. What's been your memory of those games?
Asking me that's a little bit of a tricky one, because the way my condition works is I get snippets and I have to rewatch the games back. So, like, for me, I go out there and I kind of get into that game zone. And you can ask me, oh, did you remember that bit of the game straight after? And I have no clue what you're on about. But for that 2019 win, you know, it was our first Challenge Cup win. And we've always, you know, we've always been the underdogs, except for, you know, the last 3-4 years, maybe. Where we started kind of showing people what we can do. We spent a long time working on it. My first season with the team, I don't think we won a single game. So to go from that 8 years ago to where we are now and defending a Challenge Cup trophy, it's amazing. And, you know, I couldn't ask for a better teammates, a better team. You know, we were, as cheesy as it sounds, we're family.
And how did you get involved in playing wheelchair rugby?
So my career in it started back in Wolverhampton. I was playing wheelchair basketball for Wolverhampton Rhinos, and our coach basically said, we're going to give this a go. And I think I was saying to one of my teammates the other day, I think this is probably my 14th year in this sport now. So I'm definitely getting old. But I gave it a go in Wolverhampton, didn't enjoy it. And, you know, I'm known for being quite open. I hated it to begin with. For me, it wasn't what I wanted, and it was new and I didn't know what to do. And I took a little bit of a break. I came back to it, and it was like something flickered inside me, and I thought, actually, I want to do this. And it was like a flip situation that I stopped playing wheelchair basketball and I focused solely on wheelchair rugby league. And then the team in Wolverhampton unfortunately folded, and my parents basically said, what do you want to do? Andy Gardner at Leeds Rhinos said, if you want, you can come up here and compete. And we just started looking for a house. And since then, the last 8 years, I've been playing wheelchair rugby league in Leeds. Still get Mickey taken out of me for my accent at times. But I wouldn't have changed a single thing about what I've done in the last 8 years. And I'm pretty sure at this moment in time, my parents agree. Not so much the first season, but now, you know, they look at what I've achieved in the last 8 years since moving to Yorkshire, and they wouldn't have changed a single thing about it either.
So you've got great family support. They've moved up to Leeds for you. Will they be there at the weekend cheering you on or watching it on BBC?
Yeah, I've got my mum and my stepdad are both going to be there at the weekend. The rest of my family are all going to be watching it on BBC. It's very exciting in the fact that, again, it's going to be streamed on BBC. It's the first, Challenge Cup that's sponsored by Betfred as well, which is amazing to think that Wheelchair Rugby League's now getting sponsored. So they're all kind of ready for me to give some hits out. My granddad especially. A couple of weekends ago, I went and saw my granddad for the first time in a few months and actually presented him with my first Wales cap. So he is very excited to watch me at the weekend on BBC. And I'm sure I won't hear the end of it because he spots every little thing I do wrong. And he likes to tell me about it. So, it's going to be amazing to know that even if my family and friends aren't there in person, they're able to watch it, which before it'd be a YouTube stream or something along those lines if we're lucky. So it's definitely showing how far the game has grown since starting 8 years ago.
Exactly. And in that time, you've inspired so many more people to take up the sport and do it. Could you just tell us a little bit about your journey? And you mentioned there about your condition, what the challenges are that you've faced.
Yeah, so I originally started the sport because I had arthritis and a club foot. And as time went on, I started to notice a few things that didn't quite seem to add up with the conditions that I had. So I think it was 4 years ago now, I got diagnosed with functional neurological disorder, which essentially mimics conditions such as MS. So it mimics it. It's just at this moment in time, I don't have the quantifying amount of brain lesions to give an MS diagnosis. And then last year, I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia on top of that. So for me, in the sport, a few things that I struggle with, brain fog, as everyone calls it. So I know what I'm doing, and then all of a sudden it's gone straight out of my mind, and I just have to hope for the best. But with some of the medications that I take, they also impact me within the sport. So some of them slow thought processes down a little bit in order to, to enable me to have some flexibility and mobility. But I've learned over the last couple of years to work with my condition, and I know it's give and take, because every time I compete, I need a few days rest afterwards. It wipes me out, and some of the most memorable times are, I think, after we got back from France in 2019 for the England Test matches. I slept for 26 hours. So I have to be really careful in managing what I do. So on a normal week, I'd work out, every day. On a week where we've got a big game such as a Challenge Cup, I'll train tonight, and then I'll just do stretching and things like that for the rest of the week, knowing that come Sunday I'll be at that level that I'm ready to compete and give it everything.
Would you recommend anyone who would like to give it a try? Obviously, there's places in your team to come along and give it a go. Do you expect they'll enjoy it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those sports that started as relatively unknown. Unless you played some form of wheelchair sport, then you might hear whisperings about it. And over, since the 2017 World Cup, I think we've seen more of an increase in uptake and participation. But I will always say to somebody, give it a watch, see what you think. Most people watch it and get hooked on it. And come along. There's no harm in coming to a session, trying it. If you're like me that hated it at first instance, that's fine. Just, give it a bit of time. It is, it's a fast sport. It's, we go in for the impact and you take some hard hits, but that's all part of it. And especially we find that we get people who used to play running game who have got maybe injuries that prevent them from doing that coming over to us. We have veterans of the military come over to us, and people who have been newly diagnosed with something that prevents them from potentially taking part. But we also have able-bodied players. When I first started out at Leeds Rhinos, one of my younger brothers actually competed with me on the team, and he's completely able-bodied. And even to this day, my teammates will say, "Oh, I miss your Tom." And when I see him, he'll ask about the team. But I definitely think there's no harm in giving it a go. And, I my second time round, I fell in love with the sport, and I can't emphasize enough how important it is, not just for physical health, but for mental health as well. I know when I'm having a tough time mentally with whether it's work, home, anything, I go to training and it's like everything disappears. It's a combination of my team and also that physical activity just releases the endorphins that you need to get yourself in a better state of mind.
Oh,